Well, hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the Square the Circle Music Channel. I'm your pal, Mage. That's right, that's me. And you're stuck here again, and we're going to talk about record collecting and music appreciation and all things fun in the sun, right? So you're here again at the Square the Circle Music Channel. While I got you here, let's go over the niceties. You need to go over and you need to visit me on Instagram. You need to follow everything I do, and that's all there is to it. So we can agree to disagree or not agree, right? You got it? You're heading over? Cool. Secondly, go and go check out my past history and all the videos that I've uploaded in the last year. There's been all kinds of great stuff that I have shown you guys. And most importantly, about 2 weeks ago, I posted a video. It looks like this. Go there and comment and join in my contest. I started a contest, and yeah, should be fun. I want you to tell me 4 records. That's all you get. You get 4. You're putting them in your backpack because you're getting, thrown out of an airplane with nothing but those 4 records and a parachute, luckily. And you're getting dumped on a desert island somewhere in the South Pacific. And there is a pretty sweet hi-fi buried in a bunker, 30 floors below the sand dunes of said desert island. And there's rations. You're living out your days with only 4 albums. So tell me about them. Comment on that video. Say, hey man, I subscribed. You gotta subscribe. I don't know. You're not one of them shitty sons of bitches that would enter somebody's contest and comment but not actually subscribe to his channel. You wouldn't do that to me, would you? Your old pal Mage. Well, shit. What else are we going to talk about tonight, guys? I guess we should talk about some music. You all know I'm, best known for all of my ramblings, my colorful ramblings. So let's just jump right into it, shall we? I won't ramble at you tonight. I've got a top 10 list for you. And you know how I do. This is going to be a focus on something near and dear to me because it's my region and it's where I'm from. I want to go over my top 10 favorite Pacific Northwest artists that hail from the great Pacific Northwest and kind of a little bit of a sound and vibe and feel and culture all to ourselves that we're kind of known for in a sense, and no one can really describe it into anything that really you could be confined into one tight niche. But yeah, it's pretty widespread, all-encompassing, lots of great flavors that we got here in the Pacific Northwest. And I wanted to go over top 10 of my very favorites. So when we talk about Pacific Northwest, what does that mean to you folks? I don't know. What it means to a true Oregonian, born and raised 42 years right in the same fucking spot, is this. You have to live, north of the bay in a sense. Maybe kind of north of Sacramento in all reality. Wait a second, is Sacramento south of the bay? No. It's north of the bay. So, everything from North Cal, Mendocino County, that kind of area. It's all that lovely region, all the way up through Oregon, of course, Washington State. And I'm going to go ahead and include you Idahoans, Greater Idaho, most of Greater Idaho. You guys can be in the Pacific Northwest too. You got to be close to the Pacific Ocean. You know what I mean? That's kind of one of the dividing lines, one of the things that makes you a Pacific Northwester. But honestly, I know a lot of motherfuckers from Idaho, and you guys are cool as shit. I love Idahoans. Boise's a great place. But yeah. So you can join the club. And I'm talking about music from that region specifically. So let's go right into it. Pardon me a second while I wet my whistle here. That's delicious. I'm gonna bring it up, start the list, number 10, with something very obvious. And it's a twofer. Fair enough. Just get them right out of the way. But you can't talk about Pacific Northwest rock and roll without going over, our fabulous, 4, I guess you could say, of that era, the 90s, hard rock. I guess what would I call the Fab Four of the 90s rock scene? Of course, Pearl Jam. And definitely Soundgarden, for sure. And then I guess you'd have to say Alice in Chains, and probably, yeah, Nirvana. I guess you'd have to throw a few more in there, but nothing means Pacific Northwest hard rock 90s more to me than Soundgarden. Soundgarden's the absolute fucking shit. They're just amazing. God rest Chris Cornell. We miss him dearly. He, you know, did so much while he was here rocking for us, and we appreciate every moment of it, Chris. And this being, I think, their kind of, you know, the jewel in their crown, their best, their magnum opus. Super Unknown. My bad, 1994, Super Unknown. And of course the, you know, amazing list of tracks that you'll never forget. You know, Spoon Man and Black Hole Sun and Day I Tried to Live and Fell on Black Days. Well, is Fell on Black Days on this one, or is that on Bad Motorfinger? Yeah, this has Fell on Black Days. It doesn't stop. Alive in the Super Unknown. Yeah, 1994 was a really fun year. Of course, Pearl Jam's, you know, breakthrough debut album, 10, 1991. All you fuckers that have watched my videos before know how I feel about Pearl Jam, and yeah, I think they're, in my opinion, they're my favorite. They're my favorite rock band in history. So, speaking specifically of that, hard rock, my favorite hard rock band of all time. Yeah, this one's just a fucking killer. Dynamite debut. Had to bring these guys up. Come on, you know, they helped, you know, put the Pacific Northwest rock and roll, you know, on the map. Tried and true. Love the fuck out of those guys. So that's my number 10 spot. Both Pearl Jam and Soundgarden. Okay, number 9 on this list of my top 10 very favorite Pacific Northwest artists. This guy is fucking awesome. And, you know, here I go again. I cannot remember his true name, but goes under, yeah, I don't remember his real name, but I'm sure if you were just walking down the streets of Portland, Oregon, if you pointed at him and been like, hey, what's up? What's up, Illuvium? I know you. Your name's all over. Your face is all over. He's awesome. It's kind of a garden variety name. I want to say like, you know, like Tom Mitchell or something like that. But Illuvium, one guy plays just a genius brand of ambient mixed with electronic instrumental. He's a pianist. There is some other instrumentations that he takes care of, but it's never anything more than just real simple kind of acoustic instruments. I don't think he does a lot of electric guitar work or anything like that. It's all stuff that he primarily will achieve completely on either you know, grand piano or mild synthesizers and other things. So arpeggiators occasionally, but all real mellow, very beautiful. This album is just called Verga 2. Released quite recently, I believe 2020 probably, or maybe 2019. But an absolutely beautiful album. There was a precursor to this called Verga 1 that came out, I think, quite a while ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. But he has a real bulk of amazing work. So, yeah, hails from Portland, Oregon. And so, yeah, love him dearly. I was really excited the day I found him. And, you know, just, I love that ambient drone, mellow soundscape kind of stuff. And fell in love with, I think Copium was the name I discovered off of him first and foremost. That was quite a while ago. That was like 2006, I think. I'm assuming the very beginning of his career. He's a young man. I wouldn't say he doesn't look much older than probably 35. So, but yeah, amazing stuff. Illuvium. Check out everything he's got to offer the world. Really beautiful. Hailing from Portland, of course, I didn't need to mention those first 2 bands and where they're from. Yeah, you know, I live here in Eugene, Oregon, and it's only about, you know, an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 30 minutes drive to Portland. So you can always just like head up there for the night, see some great fucking music, and you know, if you got your wits about you and you've had, you know, none too many drinks, you know, you can just drive home. And usually, shit, I've been home by like midnight sometimes. Go and see some music in P-Town and then just shoot on back home. I don't know why I went off on that little thing, but I'm just kind of letting you know where I am here in the Pacific Northwest. I'm right here. So, you know, talking about more Pacific Northwest artists that I love dearly. Number 7 on my list, another kind of obvious one, you would think, probably from a guy like me, appreciating all things that are kind of, you know, alternative, kind of real interesting, you know, art, rock, folk, Americana, just real tough to throw these guys in a genre. They're kind of the, not the original genre bender, but for like the late 90s and then the very, very early 2000s when they were releasing like their first real big, you know, 2-3 albums up and through 98. These guys were serious genre benders. Just what a really cool, unique, interesting sound there in the beginning. I immediately fell in love with these guys. First time I heard them in 1997. And then this album, I'm not going to say it's my favorite album, but this is my standby for them. It's just it's the one that I always gravitate toward. It's just an excellent, like, kind of a B-sides album. I don't think it's an EP. It's actually pretty long. It's got, you know, it's got some sizable tracks on it. There's 8 songs. It was just kind of like a follow-up album that they released right after The Moon in Antarctica in 1998, I think, original release date, right? And it's just called Everywhere in His Nasty Parlor Tricks. That album by Modest Mouse. Yeah, 1999, I believe. Or no, I'm sorry. This was released in 2001. So either the release date that I said for Moon in Antarctica is totally wrong, or there was quite a bit more of time between said album and the release of this. So I don't know, fuck me running. I'm pretty sure I thought Moon in Antarctica was like 98. Maybe that was Lonesome Crowded West. Lonesome Crowded West was my introduction to Modest Mouse, but this one's super fucking great. Love it. It has that, you know, production style and engineering style and sound and real ethereal, kind of weird, icy quality that, you know, that kind of beginning career Modest Mouse had. Yeah, really great lyrical work by Isaac Brock. Really fun, ingenuitive. I mean, for that time and period in rock and roll history, it's just real cool shit that you weren't really hearing very much. So it really helped also give the Pacific Northwest a whole new face of what music kind of sounded like up here. So yeah, cherish the shit out of Modest Mouse. I really do. So, cool album. Everybody check that out. That was number 7. Cruising right along here, number 6. Back down to my hometown. Here we are again in Eugene, Oregon. I've talked about these guys before. Got to bring them back up. They are, you know, by and large, my very favorite Eugene metal band for sure. And they're really one of the only metal bands that's ever put Eugene, you know, in the papers. So, and boy, did they. They have gone to great heights. And I love and cherish everything they do. Of course, I'm talking about Yob. But yeah, what more can I say? Like I said, I used to like play in the same venues as these guys, and my bands like used to open up for these guys. Really fucking cool. Love the shit. I'm like drawing a blank for some reason of the name of this album. It's not The Path to Ascending. Is that the name of this album? I'm a bad fan. Clearing the Path to Ascend. Probably at least like their 5th full-length LP. I think they released this one sometime in 2015, 2014 on the Relapse label. They continue to put stuff up out on Relapse, which is fucking astounding. It's so great. Like I said, it's been really cool to sit back and kind of just watch these guys just rocket into fame, at least in Europe. I mean, they're gigantic in Europe, but they are here too. You know, I went down off campus, and there's a basketball arena that we have down there, and I watched them open up for Tool, you know, in, when was that, 2013? Something like that. I think it was 2013. And yeah, they fucking killed. They absolutely murdered. It was so great to see them do that. So yeah, cheers to Yob. Killer, awesome, artsy doom metal band from right here in Eugene, Oregon. So yeah, check out all their albums. Magnificent stuff. Okay, here we are in the same kind of neck of the woods a little bit. And I think these guys, initially, they were from the same town, I think, that Nirvana got their start in, Aberdeen, right? Aberdeen, Washington. And they were good friends with all those fellers in Nirvana, and they, you know, shared music and played sometimes together and toured together, and just, you know, pretty amazing fucking noise rock. Just, I mean, you can't, it's, again, they're in a sense a genre bender on the heavier side, the heavier end of the spectrum. They really kind of do all things like fucking punk, fucking metal, fucking noise rock, just really ingenuitive, really underrated, I guess. I mean, I don't want to say underrated, because anyone that is familiar with hard rock from the 90s, they're like, well, yeah, I mean, they're one of the biggest bands out of that scene. But a lot of people that don't really kind of like, you know, get any deeper than just kind of the thin veneer that was 90s hard rock in the Pacific Northwest, no one's going to be like hyper familiarized with this band. So, but we all love Melvins, don't we? The Melvins, however you want to refer to them. A lot of people here in the PN dubs will, you know, they're just fucking called Melvins, dude. There's no the in Melvins. Okay, dude. I've seen albums that actually say the Melvins, so I don't know. Whatever. Same kind of things, Pixies. Is it the Pixies or is it Pixies? I've seen it written in you know, every publication, both ways. So whatever, who cares? These guys, noise, power, rock trio, Buzz Osborne, Dale Crover. They've had numerous different bassists. So, but yeah, all their bassists are always fan-fucking-tastic. I mean, this one was primarily written and performed just by King Buzzo and Dale Crover. And then there's some interjections on the bass and other guitars. Kurt Cobain played some of the guitar on this album. But yeah, love the fuck out of Melvin's Houdini. This was like 92, I believe. 93. Originally released in 93. It's got some really classic, the song Hooch, you know, Hag Me. Yeah, they're all fucking great. So anyone that's not familiar with Melvins, check them out. Really cool, ingenuitive, hard, crazy rock. Like I said, moments of, you know, dark punk, moments of humor, moments of like, am I listening to Metallica? What? You know, it's really wild. Fantastic shit. So yeah, especially this one. This is by far their most famous work, because Kurt Cobain plays some guitar on it. So, but yeah, Melvin's Houdini, 1993. Fucking badass Pacific Northwest. Love that stuff. This is another great one. Where are we at now here? Where'd we end up? I'm so bad at keeping track. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. I guess we're on number 5. Here we are. Top 5 of my favorite Pacific Northwest artists. Not all rock artists, not really. Just kind of Pacific Northwest artistry, musical artistry. Number 5 on my list is one of those guys that I wanted to include because, or that's why I wanted to include Idaho, because these guys are from Idaho. They definitely embody all of the aesthetics and the sounds and the loves and the feels that we get here in the Pacific Northwest. And they're one of the kind of just godfathers of alt rock. Love them to death, Built to Spill, Keep It Like a Secret, 1992. Fuck me. That's a weird one. No, 98. Sorry. Their first album was in 92. Nothing Wrong with Love, 94. And then there was a pretty big gap between that and this is, I believe, their third album, Keep It Like a Secret. Often generally speaking, people refer to this as their greatest work. But I don't know. I mean, there's a ton of stuff that Doug Marsh just keeps putting out albums in a whole new faction of his band, Built to Spill. Now that I believe the last time they come to Eugene constantly. I've seen them live in Eugene at least 3 times. But it's been for me more than a decade since I've seen them. And I believe in recent years, he's invited 2 new musicians. So it's not the original band. It's there's 2 women, I believe, playing bass guitar and drums in his band. So, but yeah, everyone knows Doug Marsh and how fucking cool and how to just kind of like a Northwest, you know, hero he is. You know, he has kind of like a folk hero status here in the Pacific Northwest. Amazing songwriter, amazing guitar player. Dude can play a fucking ripping guitar. Interesting, cool, quirky vocals, you know, but still really powerful and endearing. And yeah, love the shit out of his band. So everybody, if you have never heard of Built to Spill, this is an excellent start. Like I said, most people kind of refer to this as their best album, their best kind of era and sound. Phil Eck, the legendary Phil Eck, produced and engineered and recorded this whole thing. He does a lot of amazing production work for sub pop bands and lots of bands just, you know, hailing from primarily Washington State. So another name to look into. You know, we often forget those, you know, the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain, the people who engineer and record and do all these things. I really want to do a focus video on some of my favorite, you know, studio artists, engineers and whatnot. That'd be fun. Okay, here we are. Again, top 4 now, right? Number 4 on my list. Really cool, I guess you could call just a what I've heard them referred to as like electro folk. Yeah, electro folk. That's a really cool way to put it. And they have quite a few albums, so there's a lot to look into and a lot to dig into. They're a duo, just a man and a woman. I think when they play live, I've never seen them live, so bad fan, but the first time I heard of them, I was just like enthralled and taken away. And they're a duo, man, woman. She plays strings, most of the time a violin, but she's been known to sit down and, you know, slap up some cello and all kinds of stuff with really kind of, you know, a pedal board with all kinds of amazing effects. And he does everything else. He's just like playing drums, playing guitar, all kinds of electronic effects and loops and keyboard work, synth, all kinds of wonderful pop sensibility mixed in with really cool electro, weird, avant, you know, very cool avant shit. There's some jazz, there's some hip hop, there's just all kinds of and dark moments and just mysterious shit. Sorry, I failed to even mention the name of the band, but I'm talking about Talk Demonic. Talk Demonic, a duo from Portland again. You're in Portland, Oregon, and this album's called Ruins, right? Yeah, this album's called Ruins. I believe it came out in 2008. Pardon me, way off. 2011. Yeah, like I said, they've have many albums. I think I've heard some stuff from around that era too, like 2007, 2008. This being probably like maybe their 3rd album. Not quite sure, of course. Everyone that really wants to know can go research. You don't have to chime in the comments like, no, actually that was released in, you know, fuck, I'm not exactly on all my years all the time, guys. You know how I do. Most of the time I'm just fucking winging it, man. Give me a break. Get off my balls. But Talk Demonic's album, Ruins, super fucking cool. Like I said, a wild, funky, cool journey. Just 2 cats just like making it work. And it's fucking dope. So yeah. Check this shit out. Look into it. You can find their albums everywhere. They have shit on Discogs. You know, it's not one of those like super independent, crazy, you know, shitses that you'll never see or hear of ever again. They're on a pretty prominent label again. It's called Glacial Pace. Glacial Pace Records. Isaac Brock from Modest Mouse. He created that record label in Portland. So, yeah, all the stuff that Glacial Pace puts out is fucking really great. So everybody check it out. Talk Demonic. All right. Number 3 on my list of favorite Pacific Northwest artists. These guys, near and dear to my heart. What a touching, wonderful group. I love the shit out of them. This was something that I shared in common with my mother. We both loved this band so much, and they're a newer band. My mother really loved, you know, modern music, especially stuff like this. The first time I put this on a mix disc for her, and she was just crying. She just fell in love with it instantaneously. I bought her the LP actually because I got my parents back into record collecting and spinning and stuff just a few years before my mother died. But my mother really loved it and really took back into it, and just was so excited to see me so excited about something that wasn't, you know, that wasn't getting shit-faced drunk. It was the only thing I loved in the world. You know, it was really, my mother was really happy to see me focusing my energy and time on something so healthy and so rewarding. So she really took to it with me, and this was a band that we shared. I bought the LP for her. She was reading all the ledger notes and all these great stories and cool things, and she just immediately, you know, found some common just love and good senses out of it. So we would just often sit and talk about this band together and what it means to her and all that. Love dearly the Fleet Foxes. Fleet Foxes, band, of course, out of Washington State, hailing mostly, primarily, I think, from around the Seattle area. Of course, that's where my mother grew up, was in Seattle. She spent the majority of her childhood in and around Seattle. So like I said, in here, like in the liner notes, is like stories and photos of just all kinds of really interesting shit that the main singer-songwriter, what's his name? He's got kind of an interesting name. I can never remember it. Anyway, he, what a poet, what genius music. It's just, yeah, this is just, imagine yourself like kind of locked in a, you know, a small cabin on the Puget Sound, and, you know, amongst the trees and woods, and just kind of that, it's really vibey music. It's very just like laid back, kind of like echoey, ethereal, folk. Yeah, it's magnificent. I get tinges and reminiscent feelings of like Beach Boys, hippie Beach Boys stuff, you know, with their vocal stylings and all the reverb, just tons of reverb on the vocals. And so I get, there's moments of the vocal stylings really just reminiscent, like I said, the Beach Boys, but still so just, you know, neo-folk. It's just beautiful neo-folk. So the name of the album is called Helplessness Blues. Helplessness Blues. This came out, I believe, like in 2011. 2011. The guessing game. I love doing the guessing. When did this come out? I never researched my dates properly. Helplessness Blues, the second album by the amazing Pacific Northwest neo-folk rock kind of group, Fleet Foxes. Magnificent band. Everybody check them out. Like I said, this was their second LP. Their third one, I didn't really get a lot of great feelings from it, unfortunately. And they actually just released a new one, probably about, I don't know, 6-7 months ago. I think it was just at the very, very end of last year. So definitely worth your time. Beautiful band. Okay, everybody. Last couple of selections here. Number 2 on my list. The namesake of my favorite state. This is a group that hails from here, my hometown of Eugene, Oregon. Well, I'm born and raised in Springfield. We've talked about this. Springfield and Eugene are the same city. They are neighboring cities, separated by a river, and all the poor people live in Springfield. That's just the nature of the beast, right? River towns, that's how it was. All the affluence and, you know, the gentry lived on the university side, and then they'd ride the streetcar over the river to where all the whores and gambling and drugs were. So that's my hometown. Love it. And this is my home state of Oregon, a group called Oregon. They are a magnificent early 70s crazy fusion folk jazz. It's really hard to lump them into any real category. Definitely a jazz group, definitely a new jazz group. Fusion, prog, world, soft jazz. It's fucking amazing. Founded here in Eugene, Oregon, again, at the University of Oregon. A bunch of like music and like art students and just cool hippie guys all got together and started this. I think this is their first release, 1972. Music of Another Present Era. Is that what it's called? Music of Another Present Era, 1972. Yeah, they all met each other on the campus of the University of Oregon in Eugene, and one guy plays winds. They got bass, amazing piano, drums, but the drummer primarily is they experiment with a lot of different sounds. Primarily on this album, you're getting a lot of the Eastern sounds. So sounds from India, Pakistan, even a little bit further toward the Middle East. There might even be like some oud playing on here, something like that, but primarily the drummer is using tabla and playing tabla drums. Awesome upright bass, beautiful bass sound. The production on this, homeboy who plays the upright, it just sounds amazing. Lots of interjections of just jazz piano, cool jazz piano. And then tons of great wind sounds, and mostly you're hearing almost all primarily soprano saxophone. So one of the best, uses of the soprano saxophone that I could really think of to date. I mean, the guy who played horns in the band Camel, that dude played a mean soprano sax, but it's one of those kind of flighty, touchy, instruments that people just automatically think Kenny G, but if it's used in the right context, it's just fucking magnificent. And this is one of those albums. So like I said, lots of really great, cool wind instrument, soprano sax, and then just like bass, piano, and just accentuations of percussion. Not like any real steady, jazz, rock, jazz, fusion style drum set playing. You always get these weird hippie kind of, things going on, because he doesn't just play the soprano sax either. He's doing, there's flute, those guys, most wind instrument players can play every fucking thing, when it comes to those winds. If the guy's a saxophone player, chances are he's a clarinetist and a flautist, and and can very likely play all the brass instruments too. So yeah, love the shit out of this band. If anyone likes kind of nerdy, fusion jazz from the early 70s with hints of world sounds, wildly eclectic, from Eugene, Oregon. The band Oregon. Super fucking cool. Lots of albums too. Tons of albums all through the 70s, even into the 80s. I don't know what label this one was on, but I know that they were on ECM for a lot of their career. So, ECM just, popular for lots of cool jazz, Terje Ripdahl and everyone, Eberhard Weber and all those cool artists on the ECM label, but check them out. All right, buddy. It's getting down to the end here. Thanks for hanging out with me, talking about Pacific Northwest artists, music from Oregon and Washington, Northern California, and Idaho. I'm going to do what I like to do. I do this all the time, so you guys have to sit through a quick little spin of the honorable mentions for the evening. That's right, I like to do this because there was so much great music that I really wanted to mention. It's hard to squeeze it into 10 all the time. And for a lot of these, I don't have something physical to hold up, because these are just mostly artists that I really want to give a shout out to, that are from here in the Pacific Northwest and primarily from here in my hometown. And they deserve to be thrown out here so that you guys can check them out. Go to their Bandcamp, go check them out. Buy their, their EP that they just put out on cassette. Do the thing, you know what I mean? Like, check out their Facebook, check out their live streams, whatever. These are fucking excellent musicians from, like I said, primarily mostly here in my hometown. So I want you guys to know about them. This one's an old one, so you're not going to really find much more about these guys, except for what might just be like, snippets on YouTube where you can listen to their album from the early 90s. These were an early 90s kind of psychedelic, funk, heavy rock, hard rock band that they're one of my, favorite bands ever that I was like when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like I'll forever hold them dear in my heart because this was the first band that I ever discovered here in town, and I saw them when I was like 12 years old one summer, and it was like I think it was probably the first rock concert I ever went to at the Wow Hall in Eugene, Oregon. And this was the first band I ever really saw, and I was just immediately just, that's it. I'm a rock and roll guy, I'm a rock and roll guy through and through. So I just wanted to bring these guys up and talk about them. From Eugene, Oregon, a band called Jollymon. Stupid name, but whatever. They are killer fucking band from way back when. I think they maybe 3 albums, and they cut their 3rd album by 97 or 98, and then they were just kind of done. They probably had families, did the thing, but this album's just called Sailing. This was 1992, I think, or 93. I would see them live, and they'd be playing mostly stuff off of this. Just a trio. Their drummer actually went on to be a drummer in another Oregon band called Everclear. Maybe you guys remember the band Everclear from the 90s. They had a couple radio hits or whatever. This guy, he played drums for them. No one else in this band, though, I think, ended up having a music career after the 90s, and they're a fucking fantastic band. I enjoyed everything about them when I was a teenager. So yeah, just wanted to bring them up. This is really cool. Okay, and a few more honorable mentions here that I really wanted to bring up, talk about. Stuff from another one from Portland, Oregon. Just bears mentioning. I haven't heard much from this group in the better part of a decade or more, so I'm not sure if they're really doing anything anymore. But I've always loved the hell out of them. They're from Portland. They're called QUASI. If anyone ever has heard of the band QUASI, they have lots of albums. My favorite being, I think from probably early 2000s, I want to say probably like 2002, an album called Hot Shit. Everyone check out the album Hot Shit by the band QUASI from Portland. Super fucking band. Not sure if they're really doing much anymore, but I guess I'll have to look into that. Okay, and a few more mentions here. Bands from Eugene, Oregon. Either Eugene or Springfield, or a mixture of the two. Like I said, they're the same fucking city. So a band that I really want you guys to go check out, that I love dearly, super fucking cool thrash rock duo. They play like kind of thrash, metal, punk, really fucking super cool power charge duo called the Athearchists. They have something or two like on Bandcamp that you can go download and just check them out. I think there's some snippets of them live on YouTube maybe. Not really sure if they're still playing anymore. I think they released something on that Bandcamp on MP3 maybe like 6 years ago. So, but they're the shit. Check them out, the Athearchists. Another one, these are guys that I've actually known for years and years and years. I went to high school with these guys, and they have an amazing project. I know they're kind of going through metamorphosis right now too, because my homeboy Nick P that I've had on the show, shout out Nick P, killer guitar player. He once was a guitar player in this group. I'm not sure. I think he went off to do some other kind of solo stuff and isn't playing with them anymore. But went to high school with a couple of these dudes, and they might be in between drummers right now too, but killer fucking Eugene Springfield band called We Are KEMOSABE. Everybody get online and check. I know they have a full album that they put out on Spotify. I'm sure it's probably on Bandcamp to download, but I think if you go to Spotify, you can find them. Again, called We Are KEMOSABE, starring Nick Phillips on the guitar. Excellent fucking album. Go check it out. Another special mention, a band called FERNS from here in Eugene. Really super sick, kind of like long time standing, musicians here. They once had a band, played under the name Yeltsin. Back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, I remember seeing them a ton. I see this guy at the record store all the time. He's got a big orange beard and just like a really cool guy, fucking incredible guitar player. I've known people that have taken guitar lessons from him, but now he's in a band called FERNS, and they're the shit. Jeremiah plays the bass. Jeremiah's a fucking cool guy. Yeah, excellent band. So they have an LP you can purchase. I've seen it on Discogs. So I don't remember if it has an album name. Please forgive me, guys. But just research the band FERNS. They have an LP you can buy. It's excellent, excellent work on that. So yeah, one of my favorite local bands and local albums. Another awesome fucking band. One of the guys, I went to high school with this guy. Check this band out. They're from Springfield/Eugene. A band called PUBIS. Just incredible fucking heavy metal. I mean, like kind of classic golden era heavy metal. Just some screaming fucking guitar playing. And my buddy Doug that I went to high school with, he plays bass. Yeah, killer drumming, awesome fucking metal. Check them out, PUBIS. And again, last one that I'm gonna give a special shout out to, to homeboy Aaron and his band Red Cloud. Everybody get on Bandcamp, get on, where else does he put his music? It's probably on Spotify. There's other players. Just go to their like website, Facebook page, band called Red Cloud, out of Eugene. Fucking sick. Just like supercharged fucking, you know, hard rock, stony, kind of psychedelic rock. Really ingenuitive and cool. Guy's a fucking amazing guitar player. I'm sure he plays other instruments too. Yeah, so check their band out. Really great band, Red Cloud. Okay, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me. All those special mentions and all these bands from my hometown. I want everyone to go out and check them out. Some really great music comes out of this city, and especially the Pacific Northwest. This is my last one, number one on the list. This is my favorite band of the last, 10 years that has come out of the Pacific Northwest. They're so fucking great in the spirit and the vision of what, Melvins were doing and all that awesome fucking hard rock and noise rock and stuff that was coming out of Washington State and the Seattle area. These guys just like took the flame and just are running for the gold. They're fucking so amazing. I love the shit out of them. I had tickets to see them just before the pandemic got ugly on us, 2 years ago, basically today, right? Like fucking 2 years ago today, the world fell apart. And I had tickets to see these guys in Seattle. Didn't happen. I hope I get to see them again some. They don't come down here and play, fucking bastards. I don't know what the hell's wrong with them. It's only a fucking 3.5 hour drive. It's a 3.5 hour drive from Seattle to where I live here, and they need to come play Eugene. I've gotten on the horn on the internet with these guys. I'm like, get fucking down here and play a Eugene show. Anyway, these guys are fucking amazing. They're called Sand Rider. Oh man, so great. I bought their second album when I first discovered them. It's called Godhead. It's amazing. This one is their newest. It's called Armada. Check this band out. Like I said, amazing, super driving, fuck you in the face, noise rock, hard, heavy. It's not like what you think of as like heavy metal. It's more just kind of like supercharged, stony, hard, kick you in the balls rock. It's amazing. The singer, dude, he's the best fucking singer in rock and roll right now. This guy can belt it. I don't know how he does what he does. The music is amazing. Everything about these guys. Love the shit out of them. They're like my favorite new hard rock heavy band out of the Pacific Northwest, like in a long, long, long time. So everybody check these dudes out. They're fucking great. It's got the hype sticker. Actually, this is a decal. I wanted to leave it on there. It's super cool. I love this hype sticker. If the hype stickers are good, I'll try to save them and leave them on the jacket. Sometimes this one, the third album from the best band in the universe, Sand Rider. And then it's got little snippets that these magazines supposedly put from the Strangler. Your money in a blender would sound better and probably be more entertaining. Spin magazine says, boring. Rolling Stone says, the latest in a series of baffling disappointments. It's great. Probably one of the better hype stickers I've ever seen. So, yeah. In summation, this band, Sand Rider from Seattle, Washington. My favorite new Pacific Northwest rock and roll group. They're fucking amazing. I can't wait to see them. As soon as things start kind of like really, really opening up again. I've seen them play a couple like random bars in Seattle, but it's never on a night where I can justify like getting up there. It's just, I have kids on the weekends. It's just not always easy to go see a Seattle show. That's not like a Portland show. Like, I could drop my kids off at my sister's house and be back by 12:30 on a night in Portland. Seattle, not happening. So they need to get the fuck, if you guys are watching me and you're listening, get your asses down to Eugene. There's a bunch of new cool rock bars that just opened up. John Henry's reopened, the legendary bar, rock and roll bar, John Henry's in Eugene, Oregon, just reopened under new ownership. It's badass. You could play Max, or what's that place called? Down by Washington, Jefferson Park. Anyway, there's lots of great venues to play in this town. Get your asses down here. You guys have been great. I'm your pal, Aaron Major, here in Springfield, Oregon. Those are my favorite Pacific Northwest artists. So something in there for everybody. Love you guys. Thanks again for hanging out with me. Go down to my contest, enter my contest. Please like and subscribe to all I've got. Visit me on Instagram. And last but not least, peace in the crease, motherfuckers.